puts it that in 7 years, that this market, and this is including social media, it will grow to about 500 billion. What are we going to do about it?
Wow, these are very huge figures.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but the question is, how much of this is African by Africans for Africans?
These numbers are actually African numbers, but you are asking a much more implicit and profound question, which is, we look at the market size and the opportunity. The intention behind your question is, what are we doing to tap into that market? And you use a phrase which I've used very popularly in various interviews. Can we innovate in Africa for Africans? So in other words, what is special about us innovating here? And I tell you very quickly. It's our ability to produce what I call Africanized innovation. What does that mean? It means that we cannot mindlessly copy innovation from everywhere else. We have to adapt and localize our ingenuity to our environment. Let's face it, our environment is different. Here is one challenge that I always talk about, the challenge of illiteracy. Look, recently I worked on a solution to help counteract Ebola in Sierra Leone. And when I first started, I was oblivious to this number. But in the design process, I realized that nearly 60% of the population in Sierra Leone is illiterate. We have corresponding number here in Nigeria. So if you build a system and you are oblivious to the nuances of our environment and you call it innovation, who's going to use it? We need to always ask that question. So we must localize innovation to our environment.
I need to ask you this more on a personal level. You have about 9 patents to your credit, so I say congratulations.
Thank you.
But what is the process that you go through in your mind or to come up with these inventions?
Innovation is all about doing common things in uncommon ways. The challenge we have is that sometimes we are too bounded, right? We are too regulated. We are too streamlined. An innovator says, you know what, it's the same problem, I've seen it before, but what if I start from Z instead of starting from A? Or what if I start in the middle, from the letter M? Look, we cannot be conventional. Innovation is about doing common things in uncommon ways.
Yeah, okay, the average young techie will say to you that the incentive is not driving us to create these solutions enough. What's your take on that?
It's a great, great question. But I will flip it on its head. And I would say the greatest incentive is the desire to make money, right? So that's what all these enterprises and startups and businesses are looking for. So what else is going to push you, right? Because you know that if you innovate and build usable systems, you make money out of it. For me, what drives me is a little different. I'm a researcher. It is the desire to solve big problems in the world. That's what drives me. Yes, money may come, but that's different. It is to be accredited with solving a problem. So if I go back to regular innovators, right, who build apps and systems, if they do it right, the incentive is intrinsic. What do I mean? It means it's internal, because if you do it right, you get money.
What are your final words or your advice to Yabacon based on what has happened in Silicon Valley? What can they learn from that at these very early stages of our development?
Absolutely. It's another great question, Chooks. I will give you 4 things. Right? Number 1, what problem are you trying to solve? It's very important. We cannot be copycats, right? And we have a mentality, that if Chooks has done it, it worked for Chooks, therefore we're all going to go there. That's not innovation, that's copying. Innovation is doing common things in uncommon ways.
But is copying bad?
No, copying is not bad if I can improve on it. But that's not what you find in our society here. That is, if the new thing is,
e-commerce.
Everybody's just going to build e-commerce. Nobody's trying to improve.
Last year was something else.
Exactly. So that's number 1. Listen, what problem are you trying to solve? Is it a duplication? Is it truly an innovation? Then number 2, once you answer what problem are you trying to solve, ask yourself, is it big enough? Is it big enough? Because we cannot just dream small. Why? We are a people who are proud, a people who've grown kings and queens, princes and princesses, right? Kingdoms all over. This is Africa. What problem are you trying to solve? Dream big. And then number 3, ask yourself, who's going to use it? At the end of the day, Who is going to use it? Because if you don't ask yourself that, you are not localizing that innovation to the environment. And number 4, how much is it going to cost? Remember that if it's very expensive for you to put it together, therefore Mama Ngozi cannot buy it, or Papa Ojo cannot buy it. When you think about these 4 things, you are well on your way to being a great innovator.
Government, do they have any role to play in all this?
Without question. But we are not going to wait for government, but without question. One easy thing government can start to do, provide a regulatory environment to support innovators to do their work, right? You know, just enable innovators to do their work. Number 2, pumping some money. There is money, right? Pay attention to supporting the local entrepreneurs so that they can create an ecosystem that is sustainable. It's good for us. This is the concept of Ubuntu, right? It's good for all of us. Let's practice who we are as Africans.
Thank you, Uyi, for coming on Tech Trade.
Thanks for having me.
Iginla is asking if copying people's product that doesn't have patent right is innovation. Yes and no. Legally speaking, until an idea has patent right, no one can actually lay claim to it. Remember, the patent certificate is only issued after the idea must have been proven to be original and met all other requirements. There are instances of companies that have gone public in Europe, but guess what? Their business model is simply to copy successful companies in the US and localize them in Europe and other climes like Nigeria, but within the confines of the law. So I would advise that you should do your best to operate within the law. Question 2, Akinjimi connects with us via Facebook with this question: how can I participate in the program? Well, Akinjimi, if you have a topic that you would like to discuss, and you can prove your competence in that area, then you might just get an invite to be on the show. After, you must have sent us an email. However, you must think of adding value when you get a chance to be on the show, and not try to promote any product or service, except, of course, you reach an agreement with our marketing team. Steve Jobs, the late founder of Apple, once said that innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Our goal remains to share ideas and expert opinion that will help you through the process of becoming an inventor like my guest on today's show. Or better still, make the most use of innovative solutions created by others. Thank you for watching. Join me next week for this same show. Bye-bye.